This commentary today is going to focus on the American version of child support. Though most developed countries have their own systems used to collect money from fathers who have children. The specifics mentioned here might not pertain to your nation, but the general overview most certainly does. Child support is an evil system no matter what country you are from. Now, in the title of this video, I have child support in quotes. Now, I did that to signify my deeply cynical disgust with the phrase. I mean, calling it child support is one of the most ironic misnomers in the history of mankind. Now, as such, I rather not like calling it child support. I like to call it what it really is, the daddy tax. Throughout this commentary, when I reference daddy tax, I'm talking about what is commonly known as child support. Now, for those of you who claim, and there's always going to be people that say, oh, well, women are ordered to pay child support too, I will counter that the vast majority of child support orders are against men, as well as the fact that most women who do have child support orders against them have much smaller amounts ordered. Women also have a much larger percentage of the people who are ordered to pay who do not pay. And when they are ordered to pay and they don't pay, these women are rarely punished. The system is set up and designed to extract money from men and punish men. Therefore, daddy tax is an appropriate term. It's no different than using the term deadbeat dad when there are plenty of mothers who refuse to take care of their children. Now, my refusal to acknowledge the term child support, I figure, is as good a place as any to start with why I think it's so evil. Everyone in America knows that politicians love to create programs with titles that are the exact opposite of what the program actually does. Most of these program titles have nice sounding names so that the public is fooled into thinking that the title is a description of the program. Examples include the Patriot Act, which of course greatly restricted the freedoms of American citizens after the terror attacks of September 2011. Citizens United, which was a landmark legal case in the Supreme Court that gave corporations unlimited spending power in political elections that had nothing to do with citizens or them being united. The Internet Freedom Act, which was designed to give internet service providers the ability to block or throttle internet traffic. Right to work laws, which in no way guarantee employment to people seeking work, like you would think the title says, right to work. But instead, what it does is it inserts the government between employers and unions. And then there's an Employee Free Choice Act, which was designed to remove private voting for unionization. And that's just to name a few. I mean, everybody in America knows this happens, but we still fall for it every time. In his 1946 essay entitled Politics and the English Language, George Orwell, the famous George Orwell who wrote 1984, wrote that political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable. And this is exactly what has been done with the term child support. I mean, who in their right mind would be against helping children and giving them support? Anyone who even says they are against child support sounds like an evil murderer of babies. And it was designed that way. It was designed so that people can't fight against it. Because what is claimed to be called child support is in no way about helping and supporting children. It has nothing to do with it. The government removes the rights of the father by claiming the needs of the child, which, not so coincidentally, the government defines. And child support is a way for the government to tax fathers and incarcerate them. It is a federal crime as well as a state crime in America to fail to pay court-ordered child support. There is no excuse at all to avoid punishment if you do not pay the amount ordered by the courts. I mean, none. Losing a job, illness, physical disability, mental disability, even the death of the child, that won't even relinquish your responsibility to pay the government. Fathers who miss child support payments are treated worse than criminals. I mean, to begin with, anyone who misses a payment is automatically reported to all credit agencies as being delinquent. Even though daddy tax is not a matter of credit, you will be given negative marks for failure to pay. This has years-long effect on a father's credit score, affecting everything from housing to job opportunities. And fathers who miss daddy tax payments will have all government-issued licenses suspended or revoked. This includes their driver's licenses, business licenses, hunting, fishing, alcohol licenses, etc. The father's passport will be revoked, and his ability to get a new one will be removed, meaning that a father who is behind on his daddy tax cannot leave America. Oh, also, his tax refunds will be seized. Oh, but wait, it gets worse. A father who has fallen behind on his monthly daddy tax will have his wages garnished, including his unemployment and workers' compensation if he has any. He will have liens put on all of his property, as well as having all of his bank accounts seized. A warrant will be issued for his arrest and a court trial at which he will most likely never be notified of. A father who has fallen behind on his monthly daddy tax will be arrested and jailed. Usually, the courts do not arrest him for failure to pay his monthly daddy tax. What they arrest him for is contempt of court, which is really a fancy way of saying not doing what he was told. The judges will usually incarcerate the father until he comes up with the money that he is in arrears for his daddy tax, plus penalties and interest. Now, there is no official statistics on how many men are jailed because of child support, but according to Leba Patterson, a law professor at the University of South Carolina, a survey conducted of 33 jails in South Carolina found that 13.2% of all inmates were in there for failure to pay daddy tax. Now, if we apply that nationwide, that is 100,000 fathers plus a year being jailed for child support. Being a father could quickly become a criminal matter. But actually, you'll be treated worse than a criminal. I mean, the government does not take away your driver's license, business license, seize your assets, and imprison you without trial or representation if you kill someone. No. Those punishments are saved for the dire and unconscionable act of not paying your monthly daddy tax. And how does the government decide how much you need to pay for your monthly daddy tax? Well, that's an interesting question because nobody knows. There is no set standard. Common sense would dictate that the needs of the child would be standardly calculated and applied. I mean, children do not require cars or expensive clothes. Their financial needs are sparse compared to adults. Their food consumption, clothing requirements, and shelter is nowhere near that of an adult. An adult must find shelter, food, and clothing for themselves anyhow, and a child only adds a small amount of added extra to those requirements. But it doesn't matter. The courts do not look at the child's actual needs at all. What they do is they look at how much the father earns, how much the father has ever earned, and how much they think the father has the potential to earn. The state then decides how much they are going to take. Now, the courts are allowed to impute income to a father. What that means is they just say how much they think he can make. They can and often do give a father a monthly daddy tax bill that is greater than his ability to pay. They have a huge incentive to do this. It's why you hear about athletes or celebrities having to pay tens of thousands of dollars a month in daddy tax, but then being broke and homeless a few years later. Child support orders have no bearing whatsoever on the needs of the child. Child support gives the government the right to take any amount of money they want from a man. They can literally pull a figure out of thin air that is exorbitant. I mean, the state has a huge incentive to do this as they collect interest on all failed payments, as well as feeding the system of incarceration and the collection industry that has been established around child support. Oh, and let me tell you what, this industry is huge. I mean, $20 billion a year is physically transferred from men to women through the daddy tax system. I mean, that is more money than large corporations like Nike or McDonald's and the NFL make in a year. And that is only the actual money transferred. That in no way includes the bail bondsmen, the judges, the sheriffs, the court personnel, the psychologists, the lawyers, the banks, and everyone else who makes a living in part or in whole through child support. It is one of the biggest industries in the world. I mean, we're talking about $100 billion+ in industry. Okay, I'm going to try to make this video short. I'm going to do a multi-part discussion on child support and why it's evil. This is just part one. Now, I could do a half-hour long video, an hour long on this subject. I actually don't know how many parts this was going to be, but I just feel like 10 minutes is about right to consume a video. I know a lot of times I don't have the time to sit down and watch a half-hour video, but if y'all think I should go ahead and do really long videos, instead of breaking it up into parts, just do a really long video, let me know in the comments down below. But let's go over everything we've summed up so far. First, child support, it's a misnomer. It's a lie. It's not child support. It has nothing to do with supporting the child. It's an order that's not considers the needs of the child. It considers how much a father can make, it has the potential to make, does make, has ever made. That's what the courts look at. They don't look at the needs of the child. It is a crime to not pay monthly child support or your monthly daddy tax, both federally and state. And you'll be treated worse than a criminal for not doing it. You'll have your driver's license taken away. You'll have all your government issued licenses, business license. You'll be reported to the credit agencies, which, criminals don't have that. You could go out and beat somebody up and break their jaw. They're not going to report you to the credit agency. Come on. And you'll be locked up. You'll be incarcerated. 13% of people in jail, or over 100,000 men a year, are incarcerated for not paying their monthly daddy tax. And this is a monthly thing. You have to pay it every month. This is every month for over 18 years. Usually in some cases it's 21 years. Every month. Just don't be late. Do not be late, because the government will be on you. And we've also realized that this is a huge industry. It's bigger than Nike. It's bigger than the NFL. It's $100 billion industry with just $20 billion being transferred from men to women. It's $20 billion. It's an incredible amount that's being transferred from men and physically put in the pockets of women. The Evils of Child Support Part 2 will be coming up. Keep an eye out for it. Until then, go ahead and subscribe and like if you get a chance, if you found this video useful. And let's pass the word out, man. It's time to rise up and fight back. We got some good people out here. We got some good organizations. I'm going to start talking about them, and we're going to start discussing tactics and what we can do to fight back. But until then, let's subscribe and let's get this ball rolling.